Welcome, watchers. Welcome to Tuesday Talks, our every other week live show that we do. Just talking about things RPG related, world building related, kind of anything tangentially related to anything we really want to talk about. I am Bill, and I am joined by
Dave, the story guide.
Thank you all for those joining us live in chat. Today we're going to be talking about a bit of further on our faction creation from last time. So a couple weeks back we did mercenaries, the Black Sigil. So we created a mercenary company essentially that works out of the hub, as Dave likes to call this, and I like to say to be named later. Anyways, this group of mercenaries works out of this town. They hire themselves out doing various jobs, but they have a secret purview here, a secret mission that they have that is to protect this sigil that was placed upon a somewhat like maybe a dungeon, or probably better, like it's the thing that sealed something awful away, so that it can't be out and destroying the world. We kind of talked about, like, in the past that there was some big battle, magical, kind of war that happened, and this was the climax zone where they finally sealed away this dark entity. So the Black Sigil is set to protect that. So we figured today, at least for the first part of this, we're going to talk about a counterpart faction, a faction that is seeking to remove the sigil and release this dark evil or whatever into the world.
And to give you a little overview of the hub, it is a town, small, could be medium-sized, but their specialty is logging. And the woods around the hub is magical in nature, hidden away within the big forest of that area. The logging mills and the logging companies have special rights over that area and hold that secret dearly, because the particular wood that is magical, I think, if we remember right, it was like waterproof and had a bunch of other like really cool effects to it. So yeah, they want to hold on to that asset really, really well, but others outside of that realm want to get their hands on it. So that's kind of what we were thinking about building, is something direct, because the Black Sigil actually protects the hub, protects the loggers, protects this area. So the exact opposite of that is what we were going to be working on.
Yeah, we're looking for the faction that we decide is their like antithesis. We also will be talking about later on just the creation of a dungeon. Probably less direct map building, but more like ecology of a dungeon, or the design of a dungeon that we will someday map, probably in 2 weeks from today, because Dave will be on his own then, and he is our map maker for the most part, so we'll be working on all that stuff.
Prepare for a long episode if I do decide to go ahead and map that out, because usually map making on stream takes a while. So, but if you're interested in watching all that little tidbit stuff, definitely come back in 2 weeks and see what that insanity is all about.
Yep. Okay, so first, we're looking here today to create this opposing faction of the mercenary group, the Black Sigil. So we just need to come up with a couple things. So if you're in chat, we'd love to hear your suggestions. We'd love to hear your ideas as to like the name of a faction, the things that they're aiming to do, maybe why they want to disrupt the Black Sigil's plans, why they want to, release this dark entity into the world, or just gain the power from the dark entity and harness it to their own.
Or even, ends. A lesser form, just have the rights to the wood of the area, So yeah.
Yeah, that one does not sound as fun to me, though. So we're going to leave the rights to the wood. But that is definitely a possibility, and in fact could indeed be a third faction within this whole world, is someone who has no clue what they're really meddling in. But all they know is that the wood is valuable.
Yeah.
That could be a fun little additional
which could be absolutely. Because especially if you set it up where this faction that has no clue, and they hire the party, and the party breaks the seal and unleashes the holy terror of who knows what. That's gonna be a really apocalyptic style game.
Yeah.
So
leave it to Dave. We're going straight to the apocalypse.
You want to get the first question or the first response?
So Erasmus Expeditions, and if you haven't checked out his stuff on YouTube, he runs some great games, so go check that out. And look for Erasmus Expeditions.
Might be running something for us here in the future. Something we have to talk about, Mr. Expeditions.
Anyways, he says, what about a group of people who have been through a form of resurrection magic that had a slightly adverse effect on them? Okay. I definitely think that would be a cool... Perhaps this is where the leaders of this faction came from. Let's see.
Moody Sue says, Druids! Mad about the lumber industry.
Yeah, that would be... it could definitely be part of that third faction. But let's go with this. I like that.
And Radimus Expeditions continues and says, and they are seeking this dark power as some way to assuage their pain.
Oh yeah, I like that. They're looking to tap into this or to harness it in some way. Whether they know for sure that it's going to release this evil entity, or they just know that there's a powerful magic here that they can use towards removing their pain.
What if? Go ahead. Okay, that was my.
I was just gonna say I like that. They're seeking this powerful thing to relieve their pain. So that's another way you could be get your party involved in this other faction where they're look, we were resurrected. This didn't quite work out right. We're in pain, agony. We just need some access to this power or this region that has these, healing properties because of its power. But maybe, this other faction is not like this.
Yeah, and but maybe they're extremists as far as instead of just I need a Band-Aid, they want it all. They want to suck as much power and much resources as possible, like vampires, to a mortal.
Yeah, but of course they're not going to tell the party that.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. As we continue, Penatella says, "Hey y'all," and as we say, "Hey y'all" back, Radimus continues and says, and they are willing to go to great/evil lengths to get rid of themselves of this curse. And yeah, for sure. That's what we were kind of thinking too. So
then, oh man, we should come up with something. The name, something to do with the resurrected, or something like that. I think.
Name of this faction. Y'all got any ideas? Shoot them out.
So they're willing to go to extremes to gain/use the power, which will help them reduce their pain. I like that. All right, cool. So far, we've got the resurrected members. I'm thinking they don't live in the hub specifically, but
definitely not.
Probably somewhere nearby.
maybe
operate out of.
Maybe they live in the big city, which may be, a couple hours away, not that far away, or down the river or something like that through the woods.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the level of, like, obviously bad these guys might be.
Yeah. I mean, if they're like a low level force, then they're not going to be, mega complex as far as their pyramid scheme goes. But
well, I mean, like, if if they're have necromantic ties, perhaps, them being in the middle of the city may not be the direct thing. So I guess that could just, this is another thing you want to look at when you're making factions, right? You want to kind of pan out and look, all right, are they kind of obviously something that could be very evil or frowned upon in the world that you're building? So if resurrected individuals themselves are a kind of frowned upon thing in your society, that could very well. But
be a twist that could be, detrimental to the society and stuff. But also, I mean, you've also got to put it on the playing field of how important are these people? Is this your end game as far as these are the big bads for level 20, and they got to go through the ranks as far as like destroying this entire society or what, So, or are they kind of like a fraction or a faction of another faction, So
we got a lot of good suggestions right now in chat.
I'm
so
watching, and our stream elements is like kicking butt, but wrong. It's doing the wrong thing right now. Sorry.
The Reborn Dawn has been suggested. We've got the Midnight Dawn, and then the Hollow, because they feel like something is missing. Like
I kind of like Midnight Dawn and the Hollow. Maybe we could do like we did with the other one, where we have like separate factions within the same faction.
Okay, I mean, we could call the leaders of this the Hollow.
Yeah.
So the Hollow would be the leaders of the faction, and the faction itself we could call Midnight Dawn.
Midnight Dawn, yeah.
Oh, I don't know where that O came from. My finger's going crazy. All right, cool. I love them. I love it all. All right, so I guess that's the thing. I would see, if I were going to run this campaign based around this sigil, I would have that be your level 20. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Oh, Midnight Hollow is suggested, which is a combination of them for sure.
Yeah.
But like, I would run it where you have the Midnight Dawn or whatever, seeking to break the sigil.
Yeah, for sure.
The Black Sigil obviously trying to defend it. And then at some point, depending on the way you can get your party into it, because you want to drop your little hooks and see which way they go, but somehow that sigil gets broken. Whether it's this group of druids that hate the logging company seeking to, delve deeper and discover the secrets of the woods, and they accidentally do it, whether it's the Hollow manages to succeed and break the seal, or whether the I don't know, some other entity situation happens. I would definitely have that be the end game. So I like the Hollow, this organization. I don't know. We could have it out of the city if you want. I know you love your city stuff.
I think the Hollow, the leaders should be in the city, and maybe the Midnight Dawn would be operating outside of, those parameters, The Hollows, the CEOs.
Yeah.
And then you got your other peeps.
Yeah, and I think, and this was brought up in chat too by the Erasmus Expeditions, is they're basically hiding in plain sight. So this is like a secret
for sure
organization.
As Mooney Sue says, super secret spies in pain.
She always seems to make it like as cringy as you can. Now, they were resurrected, but are they also immortal, or are they just resurrected, or are they seeking the immortality? Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Because there's several different ways we could go with that. I think the Hollow, not so much the Midnight.
No.
Is trying to seek immortality.
Okay.
Almost like they're liches or something like that.
Ever spell. There you go. All right.
Expedition says maybe that was what went awry with their resurrection. And then Mooney says, ooh, I love a good lich.
Yeah. Liches. Yeah. Liches are, in general, right, already pretty much immortal. So I think they're seeking that.
Yeah, that level.
That final step.
That final. So there are mages and clerics and magic users that are seeking that level of. Yeah. There's
perhaps someone in their organization has tapped into this ability to resurrect or to continue life past when it should have, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But it doesn't quite work the way that you would want it to.
They haven't found the right recipe for that immortality. Redimus says, yeah, the leadership has found a way to spin this curse in a form of immortality, or some of the leaders have embraced this pain in favor of never dying. Moody Sue says, maybe they think they need the ancient artifact that the sigil guards.
This process causes continual pain. Perhaps this is something that has to be kept up, and that's another issue. You can make it really dark where they have to sacrifice individuals in order to keep this power going. They see accessing this final sigil will turn them into the liches or whatever they desire, and they will no longer have to continually sacrifice things.
Sacrifice their what do you call it? Their followers. Yeah, Penatella says lich looking for separation and freedom from their creator.
Sacrifice individuals.
Almost like that. So, Rodimus says maybe they are secretly the ones doing these discount resurrections.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. I was just checking where I am missing here. Sorry, stream, if I miss page breaks in here or hard breaks in here, because I didn't necessarily have my parameters set right. Okay.
We've only got so much space that we're working with, so. Also, if there's so far we've been really good as far as it updating. So we are presently using OneNote if y'all are interested, and Bill is typing while I actually have it up on my computer. So sometimes, rare occasions, that I actually have to sync it up again, but sometimes I do. But yes, the joys of technology. Which can be good and sometimes bad. All depends on what happens on the XP Guild. So.
Yeah, and I think that whether they will truly be free of this or truly become malicious when they access this, who knows?
Who knows? That's kind of. And you could spin it for your players and have them like do a set timeline. It's like, this is what's going to happen at this timeline, so on and so forth, and the countdown begins, and it's whether your players achieve certain goals and whatnot could like continue that timeline, stop that timeline, or even speed up that timeline. So you kind of let the players, decide at the very end. You just have the overall arcing thing. Radimus says, okay, the leaders are purposely killing and resurrecting the lower members, maybe even repeatedly, as a means of appeasing some dark force tied to the sigil. In exchange, their pain is lessened.
I like that. I'm almost thinking like there's certain members that they just execute to lessen their pain. I think like as a right to become a member of the Hollow, they execute someone and then they resurrect them, and now that person's a member of the Hollow, but now they share in this pain and agony that they didn't realize. It's kind of like that.
Repeat cycle.
Sacrifice towards this.
Penatella says, pyramid scheme. Each level recruits to ease pain. Remember, you have to sell so many chocolate bars to get to the next level.
You must sacrifice X amount of souls in order to get your chip. To become a member of the Hollow, one must be sacrificed. Oh, I'm digging this. This is a evil little thing. Recruits to ease pain. Each level recruits. Yeah, that's kind of a cool evil thing here. So
Penatella says, just 10 more souls and you become an associate junior semi-manager. Eradimus says, only once you achieve a certain rank are you told the truth. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And that's what I'm thinking here is like once you become a Hollow,
welcome to the special lounge where you get the special drink and
you get the jacket, you get the cigar and the snifter. Oh, and you're gonna be in pain for the rest of your life until we can figure out how to sigil.
But guess what? You get a free round of golf at the fancy golf course.
Sacrifice 10 more souls. We'll send you on vacation to the Underdark. I don't know. Oh man, this is wickedly nice. All right.
Ninth circle of golf club.
Deep down. Okay, so let's see. We've got like the general structure, I think, of this. It's probably made up of a bunch of whatever lackeys, low levels. I mean, and this probably permeates through the society of this big city. Is this kind of dark? I almost see like that thing where the like nobility and the upper crust thing. It's like seen as a special thing to be a member of the Midnight Dawn. So perhaps there's another veneer here, I'm thinking. Maybe there's like that, pleasure excess side of things that recruits people in, gets them all excited about everything. And maybe that's one thing that the Hollow can feed off of, and maybe it's these excess of emotions that helps them ease their pain or something. So they throw these big parties and delve into all these excessive things, and they can be around all this and draw some of that power. And that's why like the sacrificing is even greater, because that's like the ultimate excess.
The ultimate indulge the lavish parties of the rich and famous, essentially.
Often seen as I don't know, a treasured club by the rich in the city.
Radimus says maybe like a stonemasons vibe, like this secret society that is openly advertised, but little is known about what goes on behind closed doors. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
welcome to the Mormons.
Either way, like I'm debating whether it's that or like I don't know if you ever saw the movie. I think it's called Skulls or whatever.
Oh no, I haven't.
It's loosely based around the secret societies that permeate these Ivy League areas.
Oh yeah.
And it's similar like the stonemasons and all those things where there's this thing, but it's more like you don't talk about it to people unless you're like you have to be invited in, and then you're like I don't know. Once you're in and you do all the things that they kind of want you to do, you're kind of part of this upper crust elite that is somewhat rumored to rule our, everything in the background sort of a thing. Kind of like the Illuminati or whatever.
Or Scientology. So.
Yeah. So do we want it like that, or do we want it like... like the stonemasons where you have like a little symbol and everyone's like, oh, you're part of the Midnight Dawn, and that's like a special thing, but no one really knows what that does unless you're in it, and even then you don't really know what that does until you're elevated.
Going through the comments, Pentos says, often tried, never denied, we'll meet upon the square. Radimus says, exactly, but like members wear a lapel pin or a ring. Pantella says, do they get a secret handshake too? Winnie Sue says, don't forget the secret handshake.
All right, so it seems like
it's leaning in that direction.
So yeah, I think we're leaning towards there's something that they have, a ring or a pin, or maybe it's their choice of what it is, but has like, I don't know, I'm almost picturing, I don't know, in my head I go to like an eclipse sort of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know whether that's the symbol that we would want to go, but so members wear a symbol. I'm gonna put here.
I could see the spouses of the society all getting together with their big, southern hair, going, "Oh dear, did you make the midnight cake for the party?" Oh yes.
Symbol eclipse, perhaps. I can't spell, so I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Who really cares? Where's the symbol in eclipse?
Hey, it's all about potluck to bring in those members. So
they have secret phrase or handshake for those out there that would verify their membership.
Radimus says, "Get resurrected. Have some potato salad."
Yes. Yeah. So I think, and I didn't write this down, but so this is more or less like a sex club, but this is they perform parties and
I think it's more than a sex club. I think because they are the wheelers and dealers of society. So they would be the politicians, they would be, heads of industry. They would be, the leaders of, churches and temples and synagogues and stuff like that. So, and it'd be kind of terrifying. So
Mooney, no, they're too old and crotchety for that. Yeah, so I think this is the power, the wealth, just excess drink, excess drugs, excess food,
everything.
Like all these things, the heights of being in power, the lows of like destroying someone else's power base, all these things. They kind of run this city. So I think we've effectively gone from they could be this dark entity in the woods to this organization essentially runs this city in the background.
Yeah.
They have something that identifies them.
Yeah. And, it's also the fact that in order to lure in the new members and the new, the youth, they do whatever they can, to have such parties and whatnot. Do you want to pick up the next read?
I'm gonna go on with Erasmus's one. We don't need to touch on religious issues. And this is exactly what I was thinking about Erasmus. Is the hollow themselves. So you put, if the proximity of pleasure is fed on, air quotes on that, they don't even need to not necessarily participate themselves. They could just observe, which is arguably creepier, which is exactly what I was thinking in my head when I started talking about that, is that the hollow themselves don't care about being in it. They just need to be part of the experience. Like they watch, they soak it in, like without anyone else really noticing. And everyone else probably feels even more tired, even more drained because of it. And so, but these guys just hang out in their lounge jackets and their cigars, watching everybody else and just soaking in the energy, feeling better for a change. Probably for like a night. But then they're like, oh God, I hate life.
AKA, Minnie Sue says, you old Hugh Hefner.
Exactly.
And exactly right, Erasmus. It's a ritual disguised as a wild party.
Alright, so they're around watching the revelries, soaking in the energies released. Yeah, so Mooney Sue, ley lines in the floor type thing. It's a conspiracy, but no one believes it. Yeah, exactly. It's part of that secret organization, like, thing. The quote, common folk about how this organization. Yeah, no, I spelled it wrong, but I'm typing.
All right.
Never do.
Ignore Bill's typing.
Yeah, I'll fix it later.
Word.
Talk about how this organization runs the city, about the dark things that must go on behind closed doors.
It could be worse. I could be typing.
Unable to prove it.
Yeah, it's almost unable to prove it outright.
Yeah. And, it's like anything where you're like, oh, they do all these bad things behind the doors. But if you've never been or whatever, it's like... let's see. Yeah, I like, though, let's go back to this ley lines on the floor type of a thing. Mm-hmm. Perhaps they have established these special temples or special like places within the city where these parties are held.
Yeah.
And they have put all these things into these rooms that these parties take place that will help them draw the essences out. Like perhaps even the chairs that they sit in to lounge in are actually just the receptacles of all these lines of energy.
And maybe those lines are going back to the what's beyond the sigil.
Oh, so that's even sucked off a little bit to feed the sigil.
And maybe that's maybe that's the temptation.
Yeah.
You know, like this dark entity is like going, hey, I want out, but I can't get out unless you help me. But in order for me to have you, here's a taste of my power that I give to you. Here's a taste of, you know. So here is some more awesome stuff from our watchers. Radimus. Okay, nope. Skipping that. That's just a comment. Panatello says, there are no secrets. See, it's all written right here on the floor. Okay, skipping a few things. Panatello also says, liches are always above the board, never below the ground. Yes. Radimus says, certain altars in specific positions, possibly even reserved for specific acts. Yeah, for sure. Panatello says they can see all the influential members and want to be part of them. Yeah.
And then we also said that this energy is siphoned off in a small part towards the dark.
Oh. What if we go even twisted, more twisted than that?
You, Dave? What? No.
I know. Me go more twisted than that? What? I know. So these new members, what if they are the beacons, the holders of this energy, where all this energy goes, and those that are like special, or you know, that shine in the light as far as having the most energy sucked into them, that is the ones that the hollow go after the most, like.
Sorry, I didn't follow you on.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so you have a new member come in, right? And they go through the special ritual to see if you're worthy or not. Well, the whole worthiness thing is like the ley lines have tapped into this new individual. And maybe that is the power, only goes so far. And this new individual absorbs more power than, say, another member or whatnot. So they are held with a higher regard as far as an average member.
Okay.
Thus,
gotcha.
Being fed off of, or whatever they do, the hollow does,
So they test prospective members to determine their energy potential.
It's Dave logic, if you all haven't figured it out. So
yeah. Well, I gotta break it from Dave logic to everyone else can understand it logic.
Exactly.
So they test the prospective members to determine their energy potential. The higher the members' ability to absorb and thus transfer energy.
Oh, yeah. Or some form of it. Maybe not the direct sigil. Because Erasmus says maybe they expose them to the sigil. Now I was thinking maybe not the direct, because that's guarded. That's in the woods. That's guarded by this other faction. But they would have like Bill was saying, a special chair, or up and higher. Like I think you even said altar, Erasmus. Yeah, certain altars in specific positions, could be the test subject. So, and Erasmus continues, says maybe they have a piece or essence of it. Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, that's exactly what.
Yeah, so I think in the lore of this, right, it was like a ancient god or a powerful lich or just dark spirit that kind of like a Sauron. Is what I was picturing. It's something like Morgoth or Sauron, or in the Wheel of Time, the dark one that was sealed away behind these seals. It was that sort of thing. So maybe there's a piece of that entity was dislodged during the last battle and then whisked away by his last followers.
Yeah.
And that is that piece of him. I mean, it's not necessarily like a finger or whatever anymore, but it's forged into some sort of relic, and that is what gives them a bit of the tie to the sigil itself. Perhaps it's in the center of their like nexus of energy, so that's what sends energy to the sigil to sustain it, and perhaps even cause it to, like, if it gets enough, maybe that would shatter it alone. So you could write this whole campaign like, yeah, there's a dungeon that protects the sigil, but these other people have a whole nother way to break through it without even having to deal with that. And maybe they send people to try to get to the sigil kind of half-heartedly, like, yeah, you guys go try to get to the center of this dungeon. And so the Black Sigil are jumping in, and they're like, oh, look, we're protecting it so good, but secretly the city's just getting turned into a dark energy conduit to break the seal anyways. So yeah, I'm torn between writing more and comments.
Just 2 comments right now, and then we'll write more.
So we had, maybe they expose them to the sigil, which we kind of talked about. We have that essence, more and more like the comic The Runaways. I'm not very familiar with The Runaways. What if the trees that grow in the forest around the sigil have part of its dark power infused in it, and the group's furniture is made from that wood? Yeah. So we already had kind of talked about how the forest is infused with this energy due to this magical battle or whatever. But I like that twist that they use the wood, and the city, which we already established, gets a lot of the products from the hub. So hub makes furniture. They send it down to the city, and then the Midnight Dawn buys that furniture in particular to use in their facilities, and that furniture helps as part of the conduits that suck the power out of people and into the hollow and into the sigil. Well,
not only we could add to that is maybe it's very specific wood that it's like that. Maybe as mentioned, forest around the sigil itself. Maybe it's only the trees that are grown around that dungeon is the ones that have the best infusion power, or whatever it's called, or infusion of power. So, and that's the maybe they've got, well, this society would have that. I mean, would have links to the logging and whatnot, so under the disguise of whatever it is. So there's another faction in here that Mooney Sue brought up.
Yeah, go for it while I work on catching back up with these things that we've come up with here.
Yeah, and the druids are ancient and know all about it. Druid group basically equals the divine cabal. So that could be a third faction actually altogether between, these two factions.
Yes, definitely. All right, so many things we came up with there really quickly that I was I haven't typed all this. Okay, so
which we
I like
greatly thank y'all, watchers. This is exactly what we've been wanting. So
yeah, it is definitely fun when we don't have to do all the. This is a portion of the woods.
And as Bill Wright saw this, for those that want this information, we try to go ahead and put it in our Patreon. So
yes,
once
we have to drop the last couple here, but
we've got the hub and all the stuff that we've worked on in our Patreon. So
used with the dark energy. Furniture from this dark wood. Cool. Treasures actually the ends that are. Oh, that's even darker and really soon.
I know. It just keeps them.
Special trees / wood for the furniture is actually the ends that are dormant, so they are grave robbing to make the special furniture. I'm gonna add that in here. Whether that's the way people want to go with their game or not, I like it. I think it's a cool thing. This wood is actually dormant. Hence.
Also, Minisu explains why the third faction druids are involved.
Yeah.
Trying to save the treants. Or the Ents.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for sure, Penatella says maybe all temples are required to have certain furniture. I think that's, if when they build a new one, they have to have these certain bits of wood in there. And maybe that's what these lines and arcane things are made out of too, is bits of these wood that's inlaid into the flooring and into the walls and all that.
Yeah.
Lines represent the roots taken by dormant Ents. Yeah, or part of that connection, that energy, that transfer. I like it. Oh, like their altars have to be made from this wood. Yeah. Yeah, I think for sure everything has to be basically made out of this wood. Perhaps it's even something like you can't make a new temple unless you amass a certain amount of this wood.
Yeah.
So it could be part of, in order to become a member of the Hollow, you have to be able to build a new temple. And each Hollow has their own temple.
Yeah.
So in order to become a Hollow, you have to have enough wealth and power to build a temple. And once you build that temple, and you can utilize that. Now, I don't think the whole temple's necessarily made out of the wood, but you have to have a certain amount that infuses it into things.
Maybe it's a number, like 13 pieces of wood or something weird like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a certain weight of wood or whatever. And as it's mentioned by Munisu, this is a finite resource because these were, dormant ents in this area. So there was probably a good amount of them, at least at one point, because they were, I'm assuming, these were warriors in the last battle.
Oh, yeah.
And then they stayed there to protect the sigil. And then just over years, whether it's that they were, I don't know, whether it's just that they kind of got tired, they did their job, nothing's happening, or
corruption.
I think the dark energy itself has kind of leached into them and caused them to kind of go dormant.
Yeah.
And now those are being harvested. Yeah. So Erasmus says maybe the ley lines and the throne chairs at least are made from this wood. Yeah. I think there's I think that's exactly what it is. So there's a certain weight of wood is needed to form the, quote, ley lines and the thrones.
And then to continue with that, there's a subcategory in the Midnight Dawn. There's talk in the chat about they have their own Carpenters Guild that specialize in making these powerful artifacts or relics of the Midnight Dawn / the Hollow. So the last quote is from Erasmus: a guild of really powerful, all caps, carpenters in the city would be such an interesting twist. So what would
the carpenters.
Yeah, so watchers, what would this sub faction of the Carpenters Guild be called? We've got the Hollow, we've got the Midnight Dawn. So what would this Carpenters Guild be called?
Yeah, and I think it's like they participate. They probably don't ever really themselves become part of the Hollow, but they are the ones that create all this stuff. So they have a considerable amount of power and wealth within this faction. But perhaps the Hollow don't ever want these guys to be elevated because they don't want to have that information get out and into that group.
Yeah.
As to their actual goals, but it provides them considerable amount of wealth and power. Exactly. So far we have the Free Builders, the Carvers, we have Everlasting Stone Guild. I think because we're carpenters, maybe not the stone part. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find the right balance of creepy and
not over creepy.
Let's see.
Anybody else has got any ideas or whatnot, please feel free to post in the comment section just to add to this list. Or, if y'all have any other ideas, please post in the comments.
What was that one? Build the chair, find person.
I do like Shadow Rites.
Shadow Rites is cool.
Cabinet Makers of the Serpent. I think that's a little bit too long. I like Everlasting. Okay, so maybe... Or we could combine the two together.
Yeah. Let's see.
Stupid Streamlabs. Stream Elements.
Oh, here's... So, I thought, why not give a random try? So I went into ChatGPT, and they gave the Shadowcraft Guild. So maybe like a Shadow Carvers, or...
Yeah, I was thinking the Shadow Carvers or Everlast Carvers.
Oh, the Root Weavers, that's a cool one too.
Root Weavers, yeah.
Shadow Makers.
Makers. I see a NPC going, I am a carver, but that holds a lot of weight in this area.
Yeah.
Organ and Bert made the magic cabinet in Harry Potter. Names. You will always get stuck on them.
Yeah.
So I think we should probably just move on from here, and then we'll...
yeah, we can always come back to the exact name here. I mean, there's something in there. I think something to do with, like, midnight or,
Yeah, something a little bit dark, a little bit,
crescent moon or something like that.
Oh,
I don't know.
Crescent carver?
Something like midnight oil. That's used to me.
Yeah.
In the
My brain
ceremonies.
is singing that song right now. Oh, Carvers of the Moon.
I dig that.
Yeah, I can totally dig that too, I think.
And then you could still have that I am a carver.
Yeah,
Carvers
exactly.
Moon or dawn, both would work. Maybe dawn because this is the midnight dawn.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do Carvers of the Dawn.
Thank you for that, Minisu. All right. I mean, that's like an hour of us.
Oh, there we go. Even better. Dawn Carvers.
All right, fine. Just come up with
Sorry,
those.
it's the watchers saying it, not me.
I know, I love it. Oh, I hate when I just do things right there. Dawn Carvers of the.
Yeah. So we're officially going with Dawn Carvers, people.
All right. Yeah. So they can. This is holds weight and our respective hills with the wood.
I totally agree, Erasmus. I totally agree, and that's why we started this talk show. So,
rarely, if ever, are raised below themselves. All right, cool. I love this. I think it's a great faction. I think we may have to circle back to the
their
whole
third faction.
Third faction at some point.
Third faction. Yeah. So let's go ahead and at least write our third faction down, just so we don't forget it.
Do we have a name that we had wanted? I know she suggested it.
Absolutely. Okay. It was
a Divine Cabal. Is that the one we're going with, or was there a different name given?
Hold on. Explains why the third faction tributes are involved. I'm scrolling up now. Yes. The druids are ancient and know all about it. The druid group is called the Divine Cabal.
Druid group.
So to give y'all an idea, I'm going to scroll up while Bill types. So we have the Midnight Dawn here. Their first group that we worked on last time was known as a mercenary group called the Black Sigil. They are the ones that are in charge of guarding the Black Sigil from the entity or whatever you want to call it getting out. Today y'all are experiencing and helping us world build the Midnight Dawn, and now we have a third faction, which is the Divine Cabal, which I see it as, something more than the Black Sigil and something more than, they've been there. Maybe they were the ones that put the entity inside.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense if we're having this group of Ents or possibly fighters on their side. But let's not get that far.
Okay, let's save that for next time.
So Erasmus does point out is like it might be nice to give them a name that kind of counterbalances the other group. So like the Setting Moon or something like that. So I think I'm going to copy the Setting Moon part for now.
How about...
And we can always come back to this next time we do this, because the plan was not to continue.
That is true.
That far. besides, we've done our normal, even more than our normal time. So I think it's a good time to call this half of the session. So if you're here live, we're going to take our 15-minute break to refill our water and all that stuff. And then we are going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about kind of designing the dungeon or designing things. And I think we're going to focus still around the sigil.
Absolutely.
So it'll be based off the dungeon that has the sigil in it. And so how that's affected things and maybe
the
we'll see where we go.
The entire ecology that's built around this dungeon, so our break time is for 15 minutes exactly. So come back. You can come back before that and watch our little tidbit at the very end where we have a little 10-second countdown thing that's quite fun. But other than that, I guess it's best time to tell our watchers, see y'all in about 15 minutes.